So yes, so it was, so still it's, with this one it's relatively easy to stay broad. With this one, because of the hinging action, people do find it harder. But the idea is the spine should still be lengthening, and you keep funneling the ribs and the pelvis towards one another. And the hips move back. So because we're aiming to go deeper, we keep the movement initiates in the insides of the hip joints, and the energy keeps traveling through the inside legs towards the knees. We're going deeper so the hips move back. And then the way I do it is we keep the weight even. Heels, balls of feet, pads of little toes. Coming back, ribs, same process, ribs, waist, pelvic diamond, gluteal muscles, front and back of thighs. So the first movement is lengthen through the front of the spine at the base of the tailbone up into the sacrum, back of your waist. Then this first seam movement is from the hip joints and keeping the spine lengthening in the opposite direction. That's it. Yeah. Good. And then as you're ready again, coming straight back up. So through the ribs, waist, gluteal muscles, front and back of thighs. That's it. So as we go into that movement, ideally, if we can, we try to avoid coming forward that the ribs are open, because then the spine is being jarred in and around here.
Avoid them coming up.
Yes. So we need to, again, keep the ribs funneling in towards the spine at the front, but also at the sides and at the back. So, so you try and keep them really squeezing in. So there's no back bend, fist distance. And then squeezing back up, so ribs, waist, gluteal muscles, and through.
I'm not sure if I got that right.
Yeah, so and let your neck flow with your, that's it, yeah, and then back up again. So it's, you look a little bit like a lot of people who are doing when they do the deadlift.
Right, yes.
Which is fine, except that because people are carrying a weight when they do that, it's often that this opens, which is relatively dangerous even. So this is, usually it is quite hard to teach. I mean, sometimes one might say, keep your back really tall, lead back with the pubic bone, lead back with the sitting bones, keep the energy from the hips into the knees. You send the sitting bones and the pubic bone more than the tailbone back. Yes, that tending a little bit to hold you more in. And I'm not sure if you're bringing the neck this way. So if you flow it through with fist distance. Idea to keep the spine really long. And breastbone pulls to the spine, spine, yes, moves to the breastbone. And then coming back up. Yes, can you feel a difference there?
Yeah, I could feel the difference around here. I didn't quite connect with what was happening in the legs. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that felt much more down the hamstrings and the
Yes,
hips.
yes.
That came back up.
On the way coming back up,
Yeah.
when the spine's aligned, it should be a much tighter connection behind. It will tone up much better.
Yeah.
One of the things with when it's the when we do this in yoga and the arms are up, it's a warrior pose, and it's like those gods on the sides of usually statues nowadays. The gods on the side of the temple, and they should be able to chop with their back. So it's a really, so the back is not really sinking down. It stays really strong so that you could wield weight from there. Which is probably the essence as well of the back squat with the legs, with the dead weight.
Yeah, I suppose.
deadlift.
Yeah, you need all of this engaged.
Yes, all of that engaged, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Not
nice.
just a simple squat, is it?
That's a nice peaceful yoga dimension on it. People find it really funny when I say that in class. But it is, I mean, there's loads of strength work in the yoga.
Yes, yeah.
And yeah, and again, you know, this way of practice, as I was showing you last week, this way of practicing where your spine stays really long and free, has a lot of implications for flexibility, because of course, when I do it that way, I can, you know, easily release my leg behind and open here, because I wasn't overworking at the front and my spine's really free. I'm not suggesting that you do that, but it does relate as well to those movements though you were talking about.
Yes.
So anyway, we've done that quite a bit. That's typical of my teaching, I'm afraid. And well, let's do those side bendy ones that we had.
Yeah.
So that's where, let's just do the side bend. So that's where the arm flows up, and then you can always breathe out here, lengthen up, lengthen down. So the arm flows up, same way as we were working. That's it. And then as you're up here, breathing out, you press the leg on that side into the floor, tailbone tucks under, and you should be able to get more stretch there. And then we breathe in, so you get lots of space through the ribs, and then tailbone keeps anchoring downwards, and each vertebra lifts up to come over from the tailbone, but at the same time you're leading into the crown of the head. And you can always take another breath and breathe out, tailbone moves down, and each vertebra moves up to come over, and then we can do another breath if we feel all right. And then once again, as you're ready, you actively rebuild the side. So vertebra by vertebra restacking, and the muscles working to bring you up, and the exhalation to release the arm down. Good. And then we can give it a go on the other side as well. So that's where, again, just all that technique we're working with. Arm is light, really. Yeah. And then your exhalation as you stretch down into the leg and lengthen all the way up, and keeping the ribs. And then once again, your inhalation space. And then you carry that space with lots and lots of strength into the next position. And then another breath, and you breathe in, and then start the side bend again right from the beginning. Tailbone to crown, and then one more tailbone to crown, the whole spine activates. And then again, breathing in as you're ready, breathing out to come back down.
Well, that stretches all the way,
Yes.
all the way down
Yes, it's
into the hip.
Yes, it's a good stretch.
Need to make sure I feel it on this side, because I definitely felt it on this side. This was the operation side.
Yes, we'll give it another go on the side. So again, then the spine already here, the spine lengthening with you right from the tailbone. So you keep that whole side of the body opening and widening away from the spine. And then breathe out, press down and reach up, and the spine lengthens in between, lots of centre strength. And then once again, as you're ready, keep pressing your right leg down, your left leg down, and then the waist presses up and the ribs press up from beneath, and that should again emphasize that opening. And keep breathing, and then as you're ready again, good, restacking the spine all the way through, good, and releasing away.
Yeah.
That got it, didn't it? Yes, yeah. Sorry, I said the wrong leg. I'm used to say left and right.
Is that right? It was this one, pressing down on this one.
Yes, pressing down on that
on the
side.
outside leg.
Yes, on the outside leg,
Yeah.
and that should really help to get it more. That's it. Yeah, and you keep the body really wide, and you keep the ribs and the pelvis moving together. Spine lengthening in the centre, so the ribs keep moving inwards and downwards at the front. That's it. And shoulder blade stays wide, collarbone stays wide. To keep the spine lengthening. That's it, good. And the ribs keep funneling in at the front. And then, that's it. And then again, when you're really rebuilding, so lifting up and up and up.
Yeah, actually sort of starts going down the front of your
Yes,
front of your hip.
it's
Yeah.
quite they're quite strong. Side bends are quite remarkable. We lose the ability to side bend as we get older. So it's something to keep working on because it's a distinct sign of aging when we can't side bend anymore.
Right.
So one of the things I think the longer you keep side bending, again, it's going to offset.
Right.
Because it'll be part of a number of things.
It'll just make you old.
Exactly. Part of a package.
Yes, yeah.
And the other thing, I mean, we won't do it again, but the other thing is that when we're coming into a side bend, that the collarbones need to stay open. So if I close the collarbones, I'm locked here now. I literally can't go anymore. When I open the collarbones, again, I have lots of space, but you can see I've locked it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I open it, you can see I'm free again.
Mm-hmm.
And it applies to all side bends on the floor and everything. You see people in yoga class like they're sitting on the floor, they've had it, it's
Right.
finished,
Yes,
side
yes,
bends
yes.
over. End of story.
Mm-hmm.
But this, it takes a lot of work.
Yeah,
It's really hard work to set it in, but it works.
yeah.
And with time, if you've got the patience, then you know what I couldn't do, even in my teens, get into a side bend, in-seated, right down to the leg. But it does take time. And again, it's one of those things, if I'm not practicing it all the time, it drifts away,
Yeah.
and I have to work it back up. Okay, so we did that, and then it's nice, let's just do our energy flow that we did, just this one where you breathing into this position. That's it, and then you're breathing out across the heart position, and then opening from the collarbones, from the breastbone through to the collarbone, shoulder blades, again drifting down the back, and the exhalation. And then the inhalation, you try if you can to keep the arms just a fraction lower, so that you feel the weight of your arms held in and around the mid rib cage, and then coming center again. So you feel the weight of the arms held there, so they're going to hold the arms like wings in the upper back, so the neck can be really free. And so this is the inhalation. And then what we did last week was, when you are ready with the hips still pressing forward, that we came into the same movement, travelling into a twist. And what works well with this is to let the eyes travel round the room, just looking at everything, and as long as you allow the neck and the head to follow, then the ribs will also follow into the twist, and the arms just follow through. Because if we twist from the arms, we lock the back quickly. But if we let the spine flow, it's gentle, but it goes for longer. Good. Yes, good, very nice. And just keeping the hips pressing forwards as much as you can. So it's always, whichever side you twist towards, you need a lot of lower abdominal strength within the pelvis to keep pressing that hip forward. So it's the big sheath muscles. And that's it. And then this elbow comes this way, coming this all this way, and that, yeah, like that. So you get. Good. It's quite a nice one, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. So yes, upper body twists. That's it. And release. So then, we were going to do those taps, but what else were we going to do with them? I've forgotten.
Oh, side raises, wasn't it?
Oh yes, the side leg raise, that's right. So that's with, well, you can use it, don't need to use the chair. Can do, don't need to. So again, this is really similar to the back squat position, as I understand the exercise, that this part of the body should stay really tall and lifted, and that through here into the bottom, that works independently, and this stays in place. So that we're training our posture at the same time. Yeah, so again, it's, you know.
But then, as you were saying before, not lifting the foot. But
So
lifting from the hip.
yes, so we've got muscles through the lower back extensor muscles, so you weave in the small of back, lower back strength, draw up through the gluteal muscles as you keep stretching your spine away, and then initiate the movement from the bottom, travels through, lengthening through the thigh towards the heel and coming back. And the thing is to try to avoid the temptation to get the foot higher, but to just keep the movement emanating from deep within. So, yeah, I'd say there's a moment there you're starting, and then you lose the connection.
Right.
And so one clue is the movement stays slow from start to finish, because unless we've trained with the corps de ballet, we're not going to be able to sustain these movements with all the muscles connected if we do it fast. As soon as the movement goes fast, we've probably left the alignment or the intended sequence of muscle, the kinetic chain that we wanted. So small of back, lower back, bottom pulls up, and then lengthen through your inner thigh, but work through the outer thigh.
Yeah, I could feel it lengthening on the inside.
Yes. So let's look a little bit more at the trunk. So letting, like me actually, it's quite interesting. You do all the things that I always did with movement, which nobody ever explained to me. So I was never going to be able to train to do ballet because I was always like this. So the base of so when, with your abdominal muscles, rectus abdominis obviously comes up through here. Then you've got the great big sheath muscles, the deep lying transversus abdominis, which are between the ribs and the pelvis at the front, at the sides and the back. And we need to get that strength in, and it comes right up to here as well. So it's all this space, and then rectus abdominis, the six-pack muscle. So all the sheath muscles contract like this. So most muscles on the arms and like your biceps contract like this. But around the waist, the fibers pull in like lattice work at the back, at the sides and the front. And then they just need to compress a little bit to keep the ribs squeezing in at the waist. Then we've got muscles around the ribs as well, at the sides and the back, serratus anterior and serratus posterior, which are also core strength muscles, which we may not have ever been using. That will help us to keep our shoulders broad and relaxed, and then lower abdomen working wide, and then from there. So now as one leg lifts up, we're going to need to keep centering the ribs by sending them towards the working leg. Yes, good.
I was centering it, but I think I was moving my foot.
Oh, all right. Well, good in being centered. Yeah, good. So it's a good alignment. Keep stretching the spine, through the center of the pelvis and the ribs into the crown. Yeah.
Nearly straight, but
I know. In some ways as well, you just need to strengthen your hip. If you can keep this tall, the leg stretches away from you, yes. So sometimes people say, but how can I stretch the leg? I'm standing on both legs.
yes.
It's by that you deliberately stretch your spine much higher. So it just unfortunately strength.
I was sort of raising my foot a bit, but yeah,
Yes.
I was trying to raise
Yes.
my body to release my, yeah.
And then there's that sense of releasing through the inside thigh as well. Yes.
Yeah. We'll try the other side as well.
Yes, give the other side a go. So then again, on your supporting leg, it's going to be a very similar action to when we did the rises. So a two-legged balance with a rise requires the same amount of strength in the legs as a one-legged balance, not on the rise. So you need that lengthening again through your inside hip to the heel, pull up through the front and back of the thigh and through the gluteal muscles and the pelvis, stabilising. Good, yeah. So it's that same, and the spine lengthens upwards, and then the leg, inside leg lengthens downwards on the sporting leg. And yeah.
It was way more difficult on this.
Yes, to
stick
stabilise.
to, yeah.
But I mean, always take some support. I mean, a lot of times, even with people who haven't had a hip replacement, you know, I teach these exercises in standing, lying on a standing at a bar. You know,
Yes.
we do them in lying as well. I'll show you in lying in a minute, and you can see how it works. Yeah, that's it. And then, yeah, breastbone and spine keep moving together, towards each other. Abdomen and back keep moving towards each other, both directions. That's it, good? Yeah. Yeah. And then again you get that smaller back, lower back strength to weave in. Down through the back towards the hip, and then the hip pulls up. Bottom pulls up. That's it, yeah. Good. Yes. Yeah, glutes keep pulling up. Lengthen the leg away. And the other leg keeps lengthening through the inside of the hip joint. Yeah.
Yeah, that's important actually, isn't it? That stabilising leg.
Yes, it is. And you know, in dance, when you're doing the ballet, or you know, when I do the ballet, of course, I've realised with time, and you know, as the other amateur dancers just not realise that, you know, it's so much as the leg, this leg comes up, this one wants to sink, but it has to stay lifted because obviously that's a useless movement. And if you want to rise, you're never going to do it. You've got
After, yes.
So with that side leg raise, I'll just quickly show you lying on the floor because not that I think you should do it on the floor, but when I do it on the floor, the whole of this side needs to stay risen away from the floor and the waist stays off the floor. And you can probably see smaller back, lower back strength. Here, of course, it's easier to push the leg away and stretch into the movement because there's no floor underneath me.
Yeah.
But my spine, even though I'm lying on the floor, I'm not resting into the floor, all the strength around me, my spine lengthens this way.
Yeah, I do that a lot, and I, of course, raise my foot. Forget about the rest of my body is doing absolutely nothing. That's just my foot rising.
That will be the majority of people.
Yes.
And that's why being a Pilates teacher is really hard work, because you can get nobody to understand anything. And it's, well, the other teachers then just live with it. I know, that's probably true. I'm not saying they're not working.
Yeah, so for a start I'll be, so I'm definitely on the
It's as if, so it's as if you could actually lift into a side plank when you lie.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you need to lengthen just gently, I mean obviously just gently lengthen through the side, pull up through the bottom so that the hip lengthening isn't a lot. The bottom's actually, yes, stabilising you from the other side. And then the whole idea is no change of pressure at the waist. So because of the way we're built, because the most ancient part of the body is really the spine and the muscles that support it, the way the movement patterns work, that if that doesn't start the movement and the legs take over, they just run the show. So you have to always set the centre first and then add in the movement that travels away. Yes.
There's undoubtedly, if you do it right and do it slowly,
very hard work.
it's very much more difficult than cheating and doing lots of them.
I know. With Pilates, I always say it's a 6 rep max exercise.
Oh really? Right, yeah.
It's 6 reps to exhaustion. I mean, obviously when you do these for longer, you'll be able to keep going. But if I strap a weight onto my leg, I'll struggle to do more than 10 after all this time.
Well, and I was going to say, if you use a band.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I would struggle as well to do more than 10. And that's a basic exercise. So with the more stronger Pilates exercises, like side plank with side bend. I mean, it's really, for the most part, it's going to be your 6 rep max. With a movement like that, and I definitely don't recommend you do this, but you wouldn't be ready yet. So the flexibility and the lengthening will come, that this will not go onto the floor, although my leg goes higher and higher.
Yes. Yeah.
So that so that you learn to connect a lengthened movement into what you're doing. So flexibility a lot of the time is not just like, oh, can I pull my hamstring to my nose?
Yeah.
But it's really about how can I connect the ability of the body to lengthen into any given movement is a useful kind of flexibility a lot of the time. So, Anyway, you're here on the floor now, and I had a number of things to think of on the floor. Who knows if it's still on the floor or not. Did we do the Sphinx last time? A little bit of Cobra Sphinx? Or?
Yeah, I think we did. Yeah.
And
Because we did the cat pose, didn't we?
yes, I was.
Was it a plank with a?
I know I wrote, but I know I didn't really follow what I wrote, and I didn't. I mean, I was thinking about a couple of things. One was to come back to what we did, but lying on the front, and so that's that. The movement goes mainly forwards, with the arm coming through and down.
Right.
I don't know, what do you think?
We can try it if it's too troublesome. Are the feet off the floor?
They're staying on the floor and in theory passive. And as well, in theory, it's all the same trunk strength and stabilising that we were working with before. So the tailbone keeps lengthening towards the heels, and you get lots of support in the lower abdomen and in the back of the waist. And when the arm sweeps around, you move forwards, but the waist doesn't sink. So the movement comes through, keep lengthening, opening the spine forwards and opening the ribs forwards. And I'm not sure how much room you've got on the other side. Yeah. And if you can, you're trying to see if the movement of lifting upwards can come from the tailbone. Really release space. Yeah. Maybe give it one more of those. And then again, the arms circulating will tend to really deepen your inhalation. Good. Now what about your other arm?
I've just been round.
It's the trouble with exercising at home, isn't it, really?
Well, the gym's busy, which is much easier.
Yeah, I usually manage to get a studio all to myself after class. But it depends if you have to move on or not. Yeah, good. So tailbone reaches back, actively reaches back. Waist moves forwards. Spine through the ribs moves forwards, and then you try to keep the ribs really lengthening as the arm comes through. So, come forward, and yeah, by now, yeah. Yes. These are quite hard work, really. And tailbone keeps moving back, waist moves forwards, so you try to lengthen, yes. Again, your shoulder blade being wide and moving down the back helps to lift you from behind a bit. Yeah. Good. And releasing back. Yeah. How is it? Is it alright?
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of times people hate being on the front. I used to. But it is a lot to do with how the abdomen is working. If you can keep your breath really in your chest, then you avoid that dreadful pressure.
Yes. Yes.
Same with the cobra. So let's have a look at the Sphinx, the cobra. And So it's a really similar thing.
Should we adjust the camera?
I suppose we could do.
You stay there, and
I
I'll.
think
You
it's
stay
not.
there.
I bet it's not even still working.
I have to get rid of all this. How much will go onto your PC?